Welcome back. This is the fourth of 5 mini professional experience sessions, or mini PEs, brought to you by the STEM Equity Initiative. Once again, as you watch and listen to the video content, please take time to pause and reflect on new learning, and if possible, discuss it with your colleagues. At the end of this video, a link to the STEM Equity Initiative's website will connect you to resources that will support your learning. In the previous videos, we introduced and discussed the 4 indicators of the NEIR model that are the foundation for the creation of an equitable learning environment: normalize, empower, inclusive, and relevant. In video 2, we deepened our understanding of what it means to normalize career pathways for students using 2 methods. The first method calls for us to introduce education and career opportunities early in a student's life, while in preschool or elementary school. A second method is used for older students. This method calls for connecting unfamiliar career areas to more familiar student interests or attributes that may unlock a potential career pathway. For example, marketing public safety jobs at a gym focused on athletic ability has been an effective message for schools interested in attracting a diversity of students to their programs. Video 3 deepened our understanding of the term empower. Empowered students ask questions, try new opportunities and new ways of thinking, are more resilient in educational settings, and are more open to learning, even in the most rigorous courses and programs, where learning can be the most challenging. Our goal in video 4 is to deepen your knowledge of the third near-term indicator, inclusive. In an inclusive environment, educators are aware of and responsive to the ways that students are marginalized by our current education system, and educators and others' implicit bias. Creating an inclusive environment requires more than a friendly welcome. In the STEM Equity Initiative, we use the term deep welcome to highlight the deeper level of comfort one experiences in an inclusive environment. To illustrate this point, consider this situation. Someone from work is having a get-together in their home. You know the individuals from work, but you've never been in their home. You have been asked to bring a side dish, but you have no idea how fancy it should be. With work colleagues at the gathering, you wonder, what should you wear and what should you drink? Finally, you remind yourself to be careful what you say. Consider now a get-together at a friend's house with a group of people you've known since high school. You've eaten at this friend's house many times, and she at yours. You're bringing a side dish you know she loves. You know exactly what to wear to be comfortable. You're looking forward to the margaritas she'll serve. You know you can relax and be authentically yourself, as everyone who will attend is a friend that has supported and cared for you for years without judgment. In this home, you experience a deep sense of care and acceptance, or what we refer to as a deep welcome. For students, the first home represents an experience of welcome into the unknown. How that experience plays out will determine whether the students stay and learn, or lack interest and leave. Please watch the following video about Lamar Watson and his friends in the cosmetology program at Commonwealth High School. You may want to take notes, as we will be referencing this video throughout the rest of this mini PE.
Pause and reflect. A. Lamar, Jordan, and Desmond all had a positive experience with their grandfather's barbershop, which made going into a cosmetology program seemingly normal and in line with their career goals. They were welcomed into and excited to enter the program, but that seemed to change once in the program. Why? B. What factors limited Lamar and his friends from experiencing a deep welcome inclusiveness? Consider the responses of the students and teachers as you consider the answer. C. How did the fact that Lamar attended the school with 2 friends keep him in the program? How might the outcome have been different without the friends enrolled with him? D. How might the outcome change depending on the review of the video by Lamar's teacher and others?
Feeling included or excluded in a social setting can be very powerful in determining the individual's social and emotional well-being, and that will affect their ability to learn. It may also affect the student's continuation in that setting. Original research by Chester Pierce introduced the term microaggressions related to race and childism, or the oppression of children. Microaggressions can be teasing or bullying remarks that may seem small in a few words, but can be amplified today through social media. The ability of others to endorse or pile on the mean-spirited and hate-filled taunts can lead a vulnerable child to a loss of self-worth, fear, and self-destructive impulses. None of it promotes academic learning. In 1973, Mary Rowe, a faculty member at MIT, introduced the idea of micro-inequities and micro-affirmations as cultural conditioning we receive from birth. Over the next 2 decades, Dr. Rowe demonstrated through her work and in collaboration with others how these small, often unobservable communications could affect beliefs and behaviors in ourselves and others, often without awareness or intention. The term micro is used not to indicate that the words or behaviors are incidental, but the term is used because mentioning the experience by the receiver of the negative micro message may seem to the sender as insignificant or hypersensitive. The communicator or sender then minimalizes the experience, making the receiver feel further negated, bullied, and invisible. Dr. Rowe went on to explain that we are often not aware of these small messages. In other words, we may make others feel less than without even being aware of it. Micromessages are part of the culture we all swim in and are the foundation of our implicit bias, also referred to as unconscious bias. Micromessages can be negative, an inequity, or positive, an affirmation. Considerations of race, gender, class, religion, ability, language or accent, weight, age, and many other factors mix together to form our personal, cultural, and societal biases. Research shows that these biases lead us to a conclusion that people we meet are either like us or not. We refer to those that are not like us as the other. Lamar and his friends experienced micro-inequities due to bias related to race, gender, and income in their school. Some of the bias was likely unintended. The messages were sent without awareness, but some of the bias led to bullying related to sexual orientation and income. All of those experiences and more accumulated to create an exclusive environment that made the students feel unwelcomed, unseen, and uncared for. The result may be loss of learning in these 3 students, and maybe even losing them from the program. Turning an exclusive environment into an inclusive one requires mindfulness and intentional work. It requires that we recognize our own biases and the biases of others, as well as the resulting behaviors of us all. One way to become aware of our own biases is by taking the implicit association test on the Project Implicit website. The implicit association test has been the subject of rigorous research for over 20 years and has been shown to be both a valid and reliable assessment of bias. Please pause and take an assessment now.
Pause and reflect. A. What did you think of the assessment you took? Did your test results surprise you? B. In what other ways can we become aware of our biases and work to address them so they do not negatively affect our students?
In 2007, Stephen Young wrote a book called Micromessaging: Why Great Leadership is Beyond Words. He highlighted in his work that micro-inequities can lower performance and even cause people to shut down, while the intentional and mindful use of positive micro-messages, called micro-affirmations, can improve performance. While Young's work primarily focused on the workforce, he emphasized the power teachers hold in their hands to affect cultural prejudices, create student potential, and improve academic achievement. He highlighted how, when average students were treated like brilliant students, Their performance significantly improved. There are many different types of micromessages. Young identified 6: facial expressions, tone of voice, hand gestures, choice of words, eye contact, and questions or comments. Inclusion connects to an indicator from an earlier mini PE as well. Normalize. Remember, deep welcome or inclusion requires that we do everything we can to ensure our guest is comfortable. For example, having a female locker room and not just a male locker room for an automotive technology class sends a powerful message about everyone being wanted and included. Omission is also a message of non-inclusion. If a school's websites, posters, and social media images only include white males, a subtle message is sent about who is welcomed and who will feel comfortable in the program. It might seem a small image for some, or a powerful message for others. You may want to return to the 5-minute video of Lamar Watson and watch it again. You might want to shift now from understanding the power of micro-messages through microaggressions and micro-inequities to the use of micro-affirmations to normalize the environment, empower the students, and create an inclusive environment in every classroom.
Pause and reflect. A. If Lamar was your student and you received this video from him, what would you do first, second, and third to address the issues? B. What stakeholders would you engage to address the inclusion issues these boys face? C. How would you work to create a more inclusive environment without blaming or shaming others? Consider the use of Learning Circle and faculty learning communities.
An inclusive environment requires demonstrating care for your students in a way that they can fully experience it. An inclusive environment also requires empathy and caring from the students in the classroom towards the teacher and each other. Micro-affirmations are a great tool, but their use requires careful thought, not just random praise that might come across as insincere. Micro-affirmations require authenticity, openness, and genuine caring. Learning about your students' culture, background, social life in and outside of school, and emotional development should only be undertaken with a belief that all students have assets and value, as well as deficits that need to be addressed. Creating a deep welcome requires that the educator and students find the commonalities we all share that can bring us together. From food to sports to hobbies to family, there's a lot to explore and celebrate. So what do you do tomorrow in class to move from welcome to deep welcome?
Pause and reflect. A. Use your facial expressions and mindfully smile. B. Use a tone that carries approval and acceptance. C. Send someone a thumbs up for a good answer or a friendly wave across the hall. D. Stand by your door as students enter for a class and welcome them using their name. E. Use eye contact when you smile or speak with a student to convey your engagement. F. Do not allow micro-inequities or micro-messages to go unaddressed, but rather thoughtfully and with care, de-escalate heated situations to work to build empathy for the receiver. Brain research teaches us that empathy can be developed and is an essential attribute for long life well-being. Use every opportunity to gain knowledge and skills to increase empathy in yourself and your students. G. In a class or group, ask questions thoughtfully. For those students who don't know the answer but try, praise them authentically for taking a risk. Use student responses to build and grow learning, not deflate.
Congratulations! You've finished 4 of the 5 mini PEs in this series. That's a lot of work and a lot of thinking. Well done. You rock.